It's truly a privilege to welcome Rick Snyder. He is the founder, CEO of Ardesta Venture Capital, and in his prior life he was also the president of Gateway Computers. Rick, it's a pleasure to welcome you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Let's talk about your current venture fund and where you invest and what the fund is.
Sure. Ardesta is an investment company. We have a $100 million pool of capital. We started in 2000, and we've been doing very well. Our specialty has been in micro and nanotechnology. We call it collectively small tech. And it's interesting when you talk to people. Quite often people don't understand micro and nano. So the way we like to express it to people is we say, think smaller, faster, better, cheaper in terms of attributes. And we've been successful. We've had a couple of very good exits in terms of companies. One company was Mesosystems a few years ago that was doing air sampling. And today is a great day. We just had an announcement about another exit with one of our companies, HandyLab, which is doing in vitro diagnostics, and BD just announced they're acquiring them, and hopefully that'll close in the next few weeks. So that's very exciting news, because you like to see success stories like this, because especially in difficult economic times, to have successes like this, we need to celebrate.
Okay. This is your second fund. You had a first fund that closed already.
Yeah, we had a fund prior to this, Avalon. And that was more a generalist fund, where we did Midwest investing and some in the California area, and we had multiple successes there. That went very well. We were one of the investors in Aspirion, which is probably the largest success in Michigan in a long time, or the Midwest. They were acquired by Pfizer for over $1 billion. And then we had a couple other very good companies come out of that. One in particular I'm proud of is Health Media, and another company, Circon. But Health Media was a case where we found a professor at the University of Michigan, Vic Strecker. We had a great discussion, went to his office, did a business plan on his whiteboard, did the handshake deal, and literally created a company then. 10 years later, we had a great exit. Johnson & Johnson came in and acquired the company. We had grown it to over 150 employees, $20 million in revenue, and now J&J's got a major presence in Michigan, which is very exciting. Again, given the economic circumstance, another great success story.
I want to now understand how your role at Gateway and your exposure and experience helped you, because my next question would be for the BizSpark that started in Ann Arbor. So let me understand from a bigger company how we get the perspective to come and support emerging entrepreneurs.
Yeah, Gateway was an incredible experience. When I went there, it wasn't that big of a company. It was reasonably good size, but Ted Waite, the founder, asked me to come out and help manage the company for him in 1991. And the company was just on the cusp of taking off. That was in the early phases. They were about 700 people. But I like to joke, the day I joined was the hiring of the first second shift, so about 200 of us probably joined that same day. From there, over the next 6 years, we grew to over 10,000 employees and became a Fortune 500 company. And that's just an incredible experience to say you had an opportunity to manage that, understand the issues with growth. And the interesting part is it was different than doing a very young startup, but a lot of those principles apply. And so when the Gateway experience ended in 97, Ted was moving the company to California. We wanted to come back to Michigan, my family and I. I said, how can I add value? I've always had the goals, make money, help people have fun, have been my guiding principles in the private sector. And doing startups and doing venture capital is a natural.
Let's talk about BizSpark and how it started and what do you do to help entrepreneurs there?
Yeah. A few years ago, about 5 years ago or so, the Ann Arbor region has always been very successful because of the universities and the other activities, but they never really did economic development work. So a number of us got together. I was fortunate enough to write the business plan and do a number of the fundraising. I became their first chair and have been chair until a few months ago of Ann Arbor Spark, and it's become one of the leading economic development organizations in the country. And we've really been innovative. One thing we added that you won't find in other economic development organizations is we created a talent division. A person and people solely focused on connecting talent, and it's been a huge success. It's that situation of having technologists and entrepreneurs, too often they're disconnected. And by bringing them together, we've been able to create a lot more startups and a lot more activity than most places. And I think you're going to find economic development organizations all over the country, within 10 years or so, will have a talent division. We can be proud. We helped get it started.
My next question is a two-pronged, because entrepreneurs or emerging entrepreneurs want to ask you this question, both as a former executive and now as a venture capitalist. What do you see in entrepreneurs, 2 or 3 attributes we could pick up, to decide to invest with them? And second, if they are professional or research scientists and they want to bridge that gap from professionalism to entrepreneurship, what is that it takes between one guy who succeeds, the other who doesn't?
Well, there are several attributes you really look for. One is really focus. It's got to be someone that is really passionate and driven to say, this is something that is truly important, and they will stay focused. Too often people get distracted and get off track, and that will cause a company to fail. So focus is a key part. The second one I would say is that fire, that passion. Quite often, every entrepreneur that ever starts will have people come tell them, you can't do that. And you got to have that ability to use common sense and look beyond conventional wisdom. And that common sense to say, hey, this makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm going to do this, even if I have skeptics, even if I have people not believing in this. I'm going to make it happen. And the third thing that you don't hear very often, but I think is really critical, is the ability to learn about teamwork. Too often people become that lone wolf, that person that thinks they can do everything. And unfortunately, that's not a great formula for success. So I really look for that attribute of teamwork to say, I'm bringing a certain set of skill sets as the entrepreneur, as the founder. But the best way to succeed in business is good teamwork to say, what am I not good at? And what else do you need to be successful in business? And go find the best, smartest people you can and be good partners with them. And make that team really succeed and take off. And I give Ted a lot of credit. He had that knowledge and wisdom about bringing in other people. He was a visionary, marketing genius, product genius. But he also knew he could do that other stuff. But by complementing himself, that was one of the keys to making Gateway really take off and succeed, was his ability to see the value of teamwork in addition to focus and fire.
TiE, as you know, is the world's largest entrepreneurial organization. We are in 53 chapters, 13 countries, and we foster obviously entrepreneurship. So how has it been your relationship coming here and trying to see what you have seen, a little bit of time that you had in promoting entrepreneurship through TiE?
I think it's awesome. I'm excited to be here. Because if you think about what you guys are doing, this is what we need more of in this country. And I think you guys can be a great catalyst to do this. If you think about the difficulties we're seeing in Michigan, we need to reinvent our state. We need to reinvent Michigan. And what's the core catalyst that can do that? Is entrepreneurship, innovation. And so having you guys have this conference here is just fabulous. Because that was one of the things. I hope everyone can pay attention, follow your website, see the successes, hear the stories. Because you can encourage more membership, but more people to get out there and go do it. So I think it's great.
Rick, we are going through one of the biggest economic crises in a generation, I guess. And Detroit particularly, and Michigan in general, has taken a big hit. And you're running for the governor. I just wanted your take on how we can bring Detroit and Michigan out of the throes of depression, if I may say so, towards on the path of economic progress.
You should say so, because unfortunately we are an economic disaster here. And as you said, around the country you would say it was in a generation. I would say in the entire history of our state, this is the low point from an economic point of view. So I'm very much leveraging all my skills as an entrepreneur and innovator to come in and say, when you have a situation like that, you need to reinvent the state. So my message is, let's reinvent Michigan. And how do you do that? It's simple. It's just like a startup. You sit there and say, we need a vision. And I'm putting a vision out there that says, let's transition from the industrial era to the era of innovation. You do a plan to follow that vision, to say, here are tangible actions we can take now that are long-term structural fixes, not Band-Aids, to get us on the right path. And then it's a track record of action, that ability to make tough decisions, to go get stuff done, to prove to people you can knock these problems off one after another and get people on the adoption curve then. That if people see real results, they'll believe and we'll be on a path to success again. Because we need to make Detroit a great city again. And Michigan needs to head back and be that top-tier state again and get out of the bottom. And I'm focused on doing that, and we will do that.
Rick, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.